I think it doesn't have to be domestic violence. I think it's about recognizing you don't need permission to be who you are, instead of who other people tell you to be.
Yeah.
One decision can change your life. Like I was left with, the clothes on my back and my 2 kids, and I'm doing amazing,
Wow.
And,
Okay. I want to hear all about that. That's amazing. What's up, everybody? Welcome, Linda Mitchell, best-selling author, fitness expert, podcast host, everything. How do you have time to do all this stuff?
Oh my
It's crazy.
gosh, you know what? I just want to make an impact in life while I'm here to do it.
Yeah. Well, you are. You are. So we got linked up with you through a company that I think both of us love called Dr. Ohhira's Probiotics, a company that my dad's worked with for years, product I've taken for years. I know Mark has too, right?
Yes, yeah.
I want to kind of jump in. You do so much stuff. I want to sort of segment in the right way here. So you are a fitness expert, best-selling author, podcast host. What else? I know there's more. I know there's a ton.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe it's easier to answer. What don't you do? Is it easier to break it down that way?
Hey, when you're 62, you got to be multifaceted. I have worn, quite a few hats over the years, and you got to be adaptable.
Yeah.
And if you want to make a big impact in people's lives, you have to serve too.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's huge.
That's
huge. You work pretty consistently with women, 50 plus or so?
I would say actually my demographics are 30 to 65.
Okay.
And I worked with men for 25 years. So yeah. But I just found my mission to be, with my studio was one-on-one with women.
Yeah. And it seems like that demographic is really sort of, I think, a lot of the time misplaced in the sense of they don't really get what they need for their fitness journey, right? There's a lot of stuff like you don't really see many companies or brands catering to the demographic of the woman who's maybe a little bit older, has already had kids out of the house, this and that, right? But there's a real need to kind of supplement fitness and health with that category. Yeah. And it seems like you're really plugged into that.
Yes. And that's funny that you brought that up because I read an article by Les Mills. And for people that don't know, that's a brand that does like Body Pump, which is like a sculpting class. Yeah. And they have a bunch of things under their umbrella. And they said that the majority of gym goers are 30 and below.
Yeah.
And that could have been a reason for me to think, oh gosh, well, what am I doing here? I said, instead, oh yeah, that's perfect. My niche market is all to me, 30 women, 35 on up to 65 and flip it on that, because nobody's taking care of them. And so that's what I made it my mission to do.
And so that's awesome. And so you started your career when?
Oh my gosh.
Tell us a little bit about your career.
I was 21 years old and I was on an Air Force base. And I went to a fitness class. It was my very first fitness class. Not my first time in the gym. And I thought, wow, that was so hard. I just had my first child. I was young. I mean, why not Minot, North Dakota is where we were. And I thought, wow, my muscles must have died and went to heaven because that, was so hard. So the next class I showed up and I was like, I'm just going to do my very best and give it my all. And this is back in the day when you got elected to teach instead of now.
Just whoever can kind of do it.
Yeah. She came up to me and she said, would you be interested in teaching? I'm leaving here in 6 months.
Okay.
And I was like, yes. And
this is like an aerobic style or a circuit training?
It was
class?
Like Jane Fonda.
Oh, wow.
It was like, like Susie and Leslie. And they'd say, hey, ladies, you only eat cottage cheese for lunch. They would say funny things. And they had a studio in Beverly Hills. And I thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't that be cool to have a studio? And I thought, I wish I could do this all day long. And now I do.
That's so cool. Awesome. That's awesome. Well, what kind of stuff are you seeing mostly with women, kind of like we talked about in that demographic? Is it a lot of problems that can sort of be identified as like a root cause of like a gut issue? Is that where probiotics are kind of playing a role? Are you seeing, struggles just in terms of, what's like the range of things that you
know
see?
what? The very first complaint women have is, oh my gosh, around my midsection.
Mm-hmm.
And I always know it's one of two things. And number one, you're not taking care of your gut health, and you need some probiotics, because probiotics help you to digest your food. And when we're 40 plus, we're not making as many digestive enzymes. And one of the easiest, most natural ways, I love Dr. O'Hara's probiotics because it's fermented and it's food. And that's actually the safest way to get your, good gut health, to have that good flora. And, if you're taking antibiotics, you didn't take a probiotic. If you're, having a lot of sugar, you may have some candida going on. They complain, oh man, Linda, I got this bloat and I got this around the middle. First thing I get them doing is a good probiotic, and then a digestive enzyme as well. Because it's what you digest and eliminate. It makes a big difference. Otherwise, that stuff just sits on you, not to mention your joint health, because if you're not digesting, then that food also is going to get stored in the joints and you're going to have achy joints.
Oh, really?
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
So, because
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Everything starts in the guts. 80 or 85% of your immune system is in your gut. And then, so this is, you teach us in your community of sweat.
Yes.
Strong women, empowering, achieving, and
together. Very good. Yeah.
So
that was good.
I love it.
Yeah. So when did you start SW.E.A.T?
When did I start that?
Yeah. When did you start that?
It's kind of interesting. I thought that I did it all backwards because I wrote the book before I had the community and the gym.
Okay. So you wrote the book first?
Yeah. You know what? I was in my business and I had somebody in the business with me, and I could see we weren't on the same page. And so then, we kind of like disconnected. And that's when I realized what I wanted my place to be.
Okay.
And it was a place where women had a soft place to fall, where they had each other's back, where they were supportive, and, that camaraderie, where it wasn't competitive, it was collaborative. And so I just, I just took that energy and fueled it into, and I just came up with the name of the Sisterhood of S.W.E.A.T. Strong women, empowering, achieving together. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to build. It's what I wished I would have had when I went through domestic violence 10 years ago. And I always had wanted someday, when I was through that, on the other side of that, to have a place for women. And so that was the moment that I created the idea, the book. That's a foundation, though. I will say it wasn't backwards. God doesn't do anything backwards. For everything else that was to come, and it was greater than me. It was bigger than me, and it's still momentum to like catching like wildfire right now.
You said something earlier that I want to circle back to, the joint issue. Is there a case for arthritis being essentially a gut issue?
Oh. Yes. Did you know that most arthritis sufferers are low on HCl? Like significantly. Yeah. Hydrochloric acid, which is, a natural thing. But it starts to diminish over the age of 40.
Okay.
So right there, you're not having good digestive health.
Interesting.
Wow.
So then in theory, we should be taking that along with other supplements, in order to kind of like achieve that.
That, or, I would say a mild way to start would be your probiotic.
Okay.
Most people, are not doing that, and I hate to say too much alcohol is going to really mess with your gut. Yeah. Too much sugar,
What is too much though?
Too much.
Where do you draw the line? What can we get away with safely? No.
The recommendation for women for the CDC
everything in moderation
is 59 bottles of wine per year.
Seriously?
Not a joke.
That might be too
Whoa.
Not a joke.
What
That's
is limit?
moderation?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is Linda's
That's crazy.
too much?
This is bad. Everybody calls me Pollyanna, and I fly around like Tinkerbell with a glitter wand. So you probably don't want to ask me. But I would just say, really, you got to read. You got to listen about alcohol and what it does and how it changes the body right after it gets in the bloodstream into the liver. But it's very high on sugar, which feeds candida. So vodka would be your drink of choice.
So do you not drink at all?
Rare.
Yeah.
Like once a month or just like a couple times a year?
Gosh, 10 times a year maybe?
Okay.
Not even.
So that's the thing is like, I love asking
good.
these questions because we have a lot of guests on the podcast with a lot of different backgrounds and, doctors and nutritionists and all types. And so I want to know what is in excess in your opinion or what is not. So
okay.
where do you find the balance?
What do I tell people? I think, if you save it for I actually take it out of their plan right away when we start. And I'm like, you had 8 beers? I'm like, you have to take that. Oh, that's it. We're redoing your carbohydrate because content,
in the carb.
all of that, So I take it right out because people, if they want to not crave sugar, they got to eliminate sugar. Because it's, the addiction, like Dr. Mark Hyman says, it's stronger than crack cocaine. 8 times
sugar
stronger. 8 times stronger, the addiction to sugar.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, and also, like I've had guys come to me and I'm like, cut out those beers. Cause they'll say, how do I get rid of this? Yeah. And they come back and they're like, wow, you were right.
Yeah.
Cause it's one of the hardest sugars to burn off.
Is the alcohol.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's probably different for every person, right? I mean, like
it is different for every person.
Depending on like their past experiences, how much candida growth they just have in general, what they're susceptible to fungus and like all these other things. But no, I'm with you though.
My husband would totally disagree with me. Right
now. Bring him in. Let's have a talk. No, I think I went through a phase too where you could certainly make the argument that I was probably drinking too much alcohol. And as soon as I eliminated that and got that, I don't want to say under control because I never had it out of control. I was just enjoying it too much. But as soon as I stopped that, man, it's like everything inside me worked better. Everything. Gen Zers are drinking a significantly amount less of alcohol, like up to like 80%
less.
Less. Yeah. But it's interesting too, because it's like, I feel like we're sort of at a day and age where like everybody now knows the dangers of it. I think beforehand, whether we just didn't have access to, stats that we have now, people weren't maybe knew, alcohol probably isn't great for me, but if you want to have a glass of wine at night, this type of thing. But I think now people are kind of opening their eyes to, man, this crap's really poisonous. Like there's some bad stuff here.
My mentor was Dr. Ann Louise Gittleman.
Oh yeah, I love her.
Her significant other is, James Templeton. And we would always kid, but it was basically vodka kills parasites. So,
Yeah. That's an argument that I hear a lot of.
Okay. And it's low, the sugar.
Tequila kill parasites?
That's my cup. Does what's in my coffee cup count?
keep going, Linda. Sorry.
Everybody wants to know what you asked.
The big question.
Hey, I'm asking for you, viewers, okay?
But I'm just saying was, that was less than the sugar. But you asked me earlier, I would say for your special occasion or on the weekend, 1 to 2 glasses.
So
not every night.
I tried to find a balance. I tried to find the balance and it be a reward or a treat, not going overboard. So like if I hit all my meals, if I hit all my exercises for the week, do I feel like I sweated enough? Did I do my fasted cardio for the 7 days, And if we're going out to dinner, can I have a glass of wine or can I have a tequila?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like the 80-20 or the, 90-10 rule.
Having that balance, right? Yeah. That's what I try to do for the viewers is when we have guests on is like, where can you find a realistic balance that it's consistent? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, and I want your opinion on this as you being a nutritionist and a fitness coach, not being consistent or setting those inconsistent or unrealistic goals. Well, that's why people start in January and they're usually out by February, giving up on their New Year's resolution. It's like,
now I wouldn't call myself a nutritionist. I'm a holistic nutrition coach.
Okay.
Holistic. There's a difference. I'm I'm not a dietitian.
Okay.
I don't believe in the 10 slices of bread and all the milk and
Bread's
all
not
of
good
that.
for you?
I went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, and we approach things completely differently. And back to your question again.
Yeah. So just finding that balance of that people can stay consistent with is very important. So like having a treat, if it's a drink, but if you, the 80-20, basically, if you hit your goals for the week or for the month,
I agree with that.
treat yourself because it releases the dopamines, right? And the serotonins.
No, I agree. You don't want to be so, no, I think actually everything in moderation would be the key. And then, I always just tell people, if you're not going to be able to control it and you're going to do way too much of it, don't do it at all.
Yeah.
So that's the same with if to me, if you eating that cookie is going to make you want to eat the whole box of cookies, then don't go for it. Find another alternative.
You got to control it, right?
Right. But for me, I mean, I find I can have, some little mini Reese's cups. I can have, a few things here and there. It's going to boost your metabolism if you're doing the 80-20 rule or the 90-10 or whatever.
So you say boost your metabolism. Like, does it spikes the metabolism because maybe it's like a refeed day?
It's like a refeed.
So you're getting the
I believe in refeed days.
You do believe in a refeed?
100%.
Okay. So it's like,
hang on, can I ask, what is a refeed day?
A refeed is like if I had a client that I was, coaching nutrition on, and we're, trying to get lean and get the body fat down and all the things. They've been eating a certain way, so many carbs at this meal, so much protein, so much fat, none at night. And their body's gotten very, very used to that. And so it gets stagnant after a while. Your body's very smart.
You're going to hit a plateau.
You hit a plateau and it picks up on everything that you're doing or overdoing or underdoing or restricting. So then Sunday rolls, and we just call it basically Sunday fun day.
Yeah.
And you can have like a refeed, some pancakes in the morning, like steak and baked potato at night. And if you so desired, you could have a piece of cake,
Gotcha.
So what it does is it's basically like you're
boost your metabolism.
Yeah, you're manipulating your metabolism because, like you said, your body gets used to it, and then that's why you hit a plateau and you're not able to lose any more weight. So if you do it, I don't know, maybe once a week, like one meal a week, or depending on how the progress.
I usually say one meal. Yeah,
1 meal. It's
one good meal.
The metabolism
but two is okay too.
The metabolism thing to me feels like voodoo almost. Like, I don't understand the way that it works and doesn't work. We had a friend who would do a pretty strict diet, and he would kickstart his metabolism on day one by eating like a ridiculous amount of calories, like anything that he wanted. And he would do this for, I don't remember if it was a day or 2 or 3 days. And then after that, let's just say third day, he would start limiting what he eats, the times he would eat, the amount of carbs, the amount of sugar, like all of this stuff. And he would get results almost immediately. I mean, he would drop weight
because you
fast.
just basically fed your body and you boosted your metabolism, right?
So that's what it's about. Like,
so the body started revving.
Yeah.
It's like putting logs on the fire and then it just starts burning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, of course, you're not going to eat unless you're trying to put on lots of muscle, you're not going to eat like that all the time. And then you just start to taper. I mean, it's the science. You could tweak your body 6 ways to Sunday, depending on what kind of nutrition plan that you're doing. And in my book, The Sisterhood of S.W.E.A.T Project, we go through 8 weeks and of different, I like to call it manipulations, right? And then you can really see what your body responds to. But I don't believe in just like staying on this, if you're, on the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
So on this theme, you also are a fitness competitor.
Yes.
And what categories did you compete in?
Fitness, figure, and bikini. And I have my pro card in every one except figure, which figure I've only barely done. So I'm going to go for that in June.
You have your pro card.
Yeah.
Really cool.
That was cool. I got it.
Sorry, guys.
In my 60s.
I'm out of the loop with all this, but what is the pro card?
She's professional. She's a professional competitor.
Okay, cool. That's awesome.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
That means you are legitimate.
Yeah. I mean, you put in the work, man.
So Ev,
too legit to quit.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
I'll let Linda tell you this, but in order to qualify for a pro card, you have to accomplish X amount.
Okay.
and win X amount of competitions. And then when you become a pro, so like just telling the basics like of how to become a pro. Like,
well, they don't
How do you do it?
they don't always give it to you when you win.
Oh,
And for years, they didn't even have a pro card in fitness. So after I basically had some major injuries when I was going through menopause, because I didn't understand all the ins and outs then, like I do now, I thought, oh gosh, I'm never going to be able to live my life as a champion now. I've ripped everything from the groin, with bone fragments. 3 injuries, 1, 2, 3, you're out.
Oh.
And me and the Lord had a good talk, and he saw fit 3.5 years later, I started dreaming that I could do it again. And I thought, man, I keep dreaming this. Like maybe I could. Yeah. Maybe I could do this again. And I had spent all that time building my body back up. And so I never expected that, in my 60s now, I'm going to win.
That's so cool.
Fitness America, Fitness Universe, Miss Bikini America. I never imagined that to happen to me.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was approaching it from a different angle altogether. And I just wanted to get back up. And God helped me to come back stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a case to be made, and you guys could definitely answer this, I couldn't, but is there a case to be made that doing competitions like that are pretty hard on the body, just in general?
Yes. Yes. And I was overdoing it. I was overtraining. I was probably, I would say, doing too many because you're manipulating the body to get lean. And when you are in perimenopause, especially when you're in menopause, the hormones are changing. My body was not liking gymnastics, flipping across the stage. And, I didn't understand, you have menopause tendinopathy. I didn't know that's what was going on.
And what is that?
Yeah, what is that?
It's basically where the hormone, the estrogen, is decreasing, which is affecting your pelvis, your joints, all of the things. And I was I'm all in. I was way overtraining,
Sure.
Yeah.
And so that's why I ripped my hamstring completely.
Oh, wow.
From the bone.
Because when you are stage ready, you're 5% body fat. You're
getting your body fat down.
Yeah.
Although not 5% for women.
Are you lower than that or higher than that?
No, higher. For women?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Do you know the average woman is 27%, and most women are, no lower than 20%. So that's not what our body wants to do or likes to do.
Oh, yeah.
So in menopause, it wants to hold on to a little bit more. And so you almost have to really treat menopause different than you did every other stage in your life. I'm trying to get to the point of, for people out there, those competitors may get on stage and be at that, but they're not that all year round. So you got to think about your general health. And also not comparing yourself to a photoshopped image on a cover, all of those things, and realize, what is my health versus for stage.
That's where I was going with that, honestly, was like, should you be concerned about health aspects at that point? And is it worth the work that it takes to sort of not run your health into the ground, because that's not what's happening, but it is hard on the body. It is hard on, everything, right?
What I learned was the mentality I changed. I had a whole shift. It's about building your body up.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And what
that's
I
counter
realized?
cause right there.
I love it.
I was beating myself down because my body was breaking down.
That's right.
And so I started building myself up and feeding myself more and taking more rest and taking the right supplements, which I can't stress enough that we're not getting that all from our food. Our food is not created the way it used to be, not all supplements are created equal. So you got to do your homework there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm training for my first competition.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So June 21st, men's physique. Tomorrow starts my 16-week prep, coming off of a 10-month bulk, which I'm excited to start leaning out again. Cause I tell you what, like
bulking messes with your head.
I cut for about 12 weeks to start clean. So I went all the way down to probably about 10% body fat.
You should see the early episodes of this show because that's right around then.
And then I turned right back around in May, and I started this clean bulk, and clean, probably about 80% clean. But then, because then it just gets to a point to where it's just like you just need the calories. So anyways, my sleep has been horrible. Snoring is insane. Like Brittany's like, "Are you breathing right now?" I'm like, I feel like I was drowning. She's like, "No, you're snoring." I was like, "Okay,
breathing enough for the entire family."
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm excited to begin this process. But yeah, there's a lot that's going to go into it, right? And so, yeah, Evan, I mean, you're right. I mean,
how long does the cut last for?
So 16 weeks is your typical, cut.
And then at that point, do you get down to like 5% body fat? Like what?
The goal for us is, for me is to get down to 5.
For the guys have to get a lot leaner.
Because it's all about
5 is crazy.
It's all about conditioning. And for like men's physique, it's not necessarily about the size, but it's about how conditioned are you? Can you see the muscle fibers?
If you get too lean, then it doesn't necessarily benefit you if you're too lean. I mean, this guy that I used to work with would get to 3%.
Yeah.
And
insane.
It was
That's
insane. It was insane. But let me just say too, it's just your muscles sometimes can't be as full. So you got to kind of juggle that.
Right.
And also if you do that too often, getting that lean, it is not good on like the face. You look like
you look pretty gaunt and kind of like
you're
Skeletor almost.
Yeah, you're completely so you're really lean. You're at risk for injuries because you are so dehydrated.
That's what happened to me.
You have no
part of that.
lubrication in your joints and things.
You guys, that seems crazy to me.
Well, I have a buddy who
not gonna lie.
Yeah, I have a buddy who competed last year and in classic physique, so bodybuilding. And it was like 4 or 6 weeks post competition, and he's on the lake and he's just tubing and rips his whole left pec just because like the muscle is still
just didn't have what it
recovering from being so lean.
Not enough water. I'm just going to tell you that's the very first thing, because when I tore my hamstring, I had taken all my water off, and my husband wanted to film me doing my routine. I shouldn't have, because I knew I would overperform.
Yeah.
And so you got to listen to your little voice going off there, because you're at danger when you've taken too much water off of tearing your muscles.
Yeah.
So, you got to be careful there. There's a fine line on some of that stuff. And, you guys at home that are not doing this, you won't have to worry then about it, because it's just when you're getting very lean, taking water off, that you set yourself up for that muscular tear. Or again, if your cortisol is too high.
Really? Okay, so let's talk about that. If your cortisol level is too high.
Yep, you're setting yourself up to tear muscles.
And things that trigger that is
stress, bad relationship. Like if you're in a relationship, you're miserable, you're stressed out, work, maybe you hate your job. I don't know. Like you're not getting enough sleep. You're drinking too much coffee. We all scoot our cups.
Yeah.
For my ladies out there, if you are in menopause and you're like, oh gosh, I'm getting a menopause, you got to look at your cortisol. Your sleep decreases your cortisol by 30%. Getting 8 hours of sleep, or 7 or less, like 7 or more, not less. If it's less than 7, there's a really good study about weight gain. I mean,
really?
Oh yeah. So sleep, you got to get your sleep. Get your Z's. That's
Is this both men and women?
Yes, sleep.
Okay.
Yes, sleep. Both men and women. And both men and women, cortisol. Yeah. Coffee spikes your cortisol up to 28%. Mm-hmm. You're going to get better sleep if you're not overly caffeinating.
Yeah.
So I just drink mine on special occasions, and I think today is a special occasion. Yeah. And I'm really enjoying this iced coffee you made.
Thank you.
But I generally do not drink coffee at all.
What do you drink?
I have water. I will drink like lemon water, or I'll have some cinnamon tea, which has a little caffeine, but like not compared to coffee. It's like minute.
Do you drink that in the mornings, or any that you kick the morning off with?
You know what? I do maca powder.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That balances your hormones. And for the guys, that boosts your testosterone. Women.
Maca does?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize
absolutely.
that. Okay.
Yep.
Good to know.
It's
Very
really
cool.
good. It's balanced. Like it's not going to be like too much. Like, sometimes people go get shot with testosterone or they get pellets or something.
Yeah.
The Maca is a natural boost and it gives you sustained energy all day long, sharp mentally, all that.
Is there a specific dosage with that?
I just take what's on I don't overtake.
What's on like the label,
just
basically?
like
Okay.
I think for guys, I remember reading it was like a teaspoon.
Okay.
Like you can look it up. It's all over the internet.
Is it Maca or matcha? What are we talking
Maca, M-A-C-A.
M-A-C-A.
Maca, okay.
Yeah. And you know what? You don't get jittery. You don't crash and burn because let's talk about coffee, how it spikes your insulin level.
Mm-hmm.
It spikes it just like sugar.
Yeah.
Just like sugar.
Oh, it's a crash.
Linda,
sure.
let's not
burst
my coffee.
You're ruining all of our vices.
We've
Linda.
been
They were like, I like.
Can we talk about something else?
About that a
No,
little too
honestly,
long.
yeah. There's moderation, right? So that's awesome. So Maca, that's interesting. Have you guys heard of?
I've never heard of. That's why I asked if it was matcha.
I've heard of it before. I don't know a thing about it though.
Oh, you can look up all the studies. It's amazing.
Does it give you? You said it gives you energy.
Yeah, it'll boost your testosterone. And for the ladies out there that are worried about, testosterone, I don't want to be like a man.
You need it.
I'm sorry, but like if you take a little, if you have testosterone, it yields estrogen. So, you're going through perimenopause or menopause, it'll give you some energy. You'll feel like the birds are singing again. Like it's good.
Yeah. So let's talk about that because we talk about that on the show a lot is hormones. So a lot of people, like you just said, ladies are like, oh, testosterone. It's like, no. You ladies need a good,
we have
healthy levels of testosterone.
Yes, healthy levels.
And so, and within our inner circles, I've heard a lot of conversations of women who are starting to get on, hormone replacement therapy.
Yes,
And they're like,
I've done it myself.
oh my gosh, this is amazing! Like
I don't now though.
The importance of hormone replacement therapy when needed. For women.
Yes. Bioidentical hormones are your best friend when you're having all the menopausal symptoms of hot flashes, night sweats, fuzzy brain, things.
And
menopause.
And bioidentical meaning more of the pellet?
It could be creams.
Or the creams?
It doesn't have to be pellets. Pellets are harder to regulate. I actually just do a plant for my estrogen. I do Puerifica Mercana, and you can get it online, and it mimics estrogen. So for me, I did during the hard time of menopause take progesterone. I did the pellets. I've done the creams. I've done all of that. But I found just really following nature was my better bet for me. So I do the Maca. I do the Puerifica Mercana. I do a good diet. I'm post-menopause now. I'm 62. I don't have any of that anymore. I'm on the other side of it, and it's amazing.
Now you know how you're supposed to feel, right? If the hormones are out of balance, but now you're maintaining it through natural supplements.
That was actually better for me, in the long run.
With naturally?
Yeah. And I found that with a lot of people, but it's not with all people. So you have to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
But bioidentical, the studies show a little safer.
Bioidentical in, what does that mean?
It's all natural. It's not synthetic. Less incidence of causing cancer and things like that. So,
but it can be creams. It can be pellets, like you were saying. It can be whatever.
Creams are easier to monitor.
Yeah.
It's a little harder if somebody's put pellets in you.
Yeah.
They're in for 3 months.
Right.
And then with the pellets,
they gave you too much, too little.
Sure. Yeah.
With the pellets, it's you spike. And then it's a 3-month deficit.
And then they got to do the little.
You got to do it again.
Constantly.
You got to do it again. So
that doesn't sound fun.
Keeping a steadied level of hormones is.
When do you see, like, what age do you see that as becoming, like, I don't want to say a necessity, but when does it become beneficial for you? Maybe
it is a necessity.
Maybe it is. Yeah.
I think it's, for me, the progesterone really, it was crazy because I started getting testosterone surges right at night. And you can really feel it if you get cross. I'm usually pretty chipper.
Yeah.
If you're just you can't sleep. You wake up like somebody stuck you in a light socket.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you're kind of seeing that, I would say 50-ish.
Okay.
You're having perimenopause, 45 to 50 usually, but 50 is on. Mine was 55. And sleep. Oh my gosh. I would just wake up wide awake. No reason. It's because your estrogen is dropping, which makes it your cortisol hormone wanting to climb because you don't have estrogen to help you with the stress anymore.
So it's just like the balance is off, basically.
You're off base. It's like
Yeah.
being a teen again when you were 13 and all of a sudden your hormones are all over.
Yeah.
They really are, because you're switching over to the other side. So help yourself out and go get some, go to the doctor and get, hey, can we work together here? And they can give you some progesterone, which helps you sleep, give you the testosterone, which is the first rule of thumb. I would say try to steer clear of. You might not need to get any estrogen because the testosterone will give you estrogen.
Yeah. Like I've spoke to women in their mid to late 30s, early 40s who are going on, hormone replacement therapy and because low testosterone, and they're like, I feel like a completely different person.
Oh yeah.
I'm energetic.
Oh my gosh.
It's just your cognitive function, your energy, libido. Like you don't realize how important your hormones are
until they're off.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And it's so true. And women have to go through so many changes, but men have andropause. So you guys go through changes too. And so, but it's not as talked about. But women, they just go through all these changes, and it's just all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, like, what is, I feel stupid. Like I got stupid brain, but it's basically because your estrogen is plummeting and you're getting that brain fog. I have seen some serious brain fog. So getting help for that. I mean, also, I just also went to Whole Foods when I had the night sweats and took Vitex, and that was amazing. That was helpful.
What is that?
It's a mixture of like black cohosh and a bunch of, it was nice because it was subtle, but it just really took out those night sweats, which are horrible.
Though, like a combination
it's just
of
herbs. You could get them from Whole Foods or any kind of health food store. And so it's just having that conversation and realizing there are ways that you can help yourself, and you can get, go to the doctor, go get a doctor that deals with the bioidenticals.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's big.
That is big. I feel like I'm sort of embarking on an age where my hormones are either currently changing or going to be changing soon. I'm like early 40s. What do you think I should be looking for just in terms of when I need to know, hey, maybe I need to get testosterone, when maybe I need to start upping this or that? I mean,
it wouldn't hurt to go to get checked at your doctor and see if you're low on testosterone. But I
got to get a doctor first.
The very first thing I would say to people, to guys, would be to lift, because that yields testosterone. Lifting also increasing, make sure you're getting enough protein.
Yeah.
I hate to say, but the Maca, I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, bring it on. I love it.
That's interesting. I already know Brett is probably ordered some on Amazon.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of me.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
I only quit things. I don't do things.
Hey, he's already quit Maca.
Yeah. I started it before we were talking about it. Quit it just now.
Inside joke. Several episodes back, Brett quit drinking coffee, I think is what he said. I'm over here starting everything and just abusing everything that I'm doing because I'm in a bulk.
Picking up all the bad habits.
So let's shift back to your competing, because I think that's so fascinating. When was your last competition?
In November.
This recent November.
Wow,
this
recently.
Past November.
Yep.
Awesome. So how did that go? Did you enjoy it? I mean,
I did.
Did you place? What happened?
It was amazing. I did a fitness routine and I won Fitness America, and then
wow,
man, good for you.
That's awesome,
man.
Yeah, and
good for you.
That was amazing.
Wow, man, that's awesome.
Thanks. I think I was like, that was just kind of when I started. That was my first time being in top 5 at 50.
Wow, good for you. That is awesome. That's inspiring. That's super inspiring.
Cool. Do you see a lot in competing, right? People would be silly. I mean, just to, yes, there's natural and then there's enhanced, but with bikini, Do you see a lot of individuals using like diuretics to like lean out and get the water off and things like that?
Yes.
Because I mean, you're backstage, right? I mean, you're seeing it all, right?
I see everything.
Yeah.
One show I went to wasn't drug tested. And I remember it was my first experience with it. And I thought, Toto's not in Kansas anymore.
Everybody's back
just
there
like
getting pumped.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is Dog and Pony Show.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen anything like it.
Uh-huh.
I remember the guy that I was leasing some space from at the time said, if it's not drug tested, there's drugs, absolutely.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, okay, well, that's not for me, because I was like, you know what? I'm 40. I have children. I want to be healthy. That's my main thing. I love doing this. It keeps me motivated, but to me, I don't want to do that. No extremes for me.
Yeah, it's always interesting to hear stories of when people are backstage at different competitions.
But yeah, they
like
take
that.
diuretics, and some people would stand up next to me and shake because they might have done clenbuterol or some of the things I might take for diuretics. But I always, if they ask me, I'm like, don't do it. You're literally just drink more water. That'll flush some of that water out.
Yeah.
The excess, but like the diuretic, like makes you dry. You're going to get all these cramps. I mean, I remember one time we were sitting in the middle of a mall after a Miss Fitness USA contest, and my friend got a full body cramp. Like
Oh my gosh,
the
full
whole
body?
entire body,
Wow.
Ooh.
Just being dehydrated.
yeah, taking too much
Gee,
water off,
man,
not
that
having
sounds
potassium.
Horrible.
Yeah.
And it was horrible, and it's terrible that we laughed because it was funny at the time
Things
too.
that you do to compete, right?
You learn from these experiences, and also, had I had taken it once myself, I was like, no, not for me.
Yeah.
You can just drink enough water to flush some of the excess water out. But again, if I'm doing tumbling across the stage, no taking the water off. I actually ended up getting hypotremia one time, drinking my water too fast, too much
After a show.
before because you're trying to flush it out. So you're drinking tons of water. And I just wanted to be done with it. I learned you got to do some electrolytes with that.
Okay.
I learned the hard way.
So for those that don't know what a diuretic is, it's basically a pharmaceutical that helps you flush the water, get the water weight off of you. And when you're competing, it shows the vascularity and it shows the muscle fibers and everything. So you want to be the leanest you can. Zac Efron, Brett, if you want to pull this up, actually admits to using diuretics when he was filming Baywatch.
Baywatch.
So
Dude looked crazy.
I mean, to be this lean,
Yeah.
and he talks about just how bad he felt.
Yeah. Zac Efron says the Baywatch body
It
isn't
makes you
achievable.
exhausted
Yeah.
too, by the way. If you're tired all the time, you're probably not drinking enough water. That's the very first thing for energy is drinking water.
Just drinking water.
Drinking water.
Yeah, because people don't understand how chronically dehydrated they actually are. Pull a picture up, Brett.
Yeah, I'll throw a picture up. It's interesting. My dad was on Lasix because of so much edema, which is water retention in your heart. He had heart disease and all kinds of ailments. And so they put somebody like that on Lasix, and then somebody like Zac Efron where it says, like it's fake, it looks CGI'd, and that required Lasix, powerful diuretics to achieve. So I don't need to do that.
So let me ask you guys both this. Beyond bragging rights, beyond saying, hey, I did this and I looked awesome and it was great, what's the pull?
The pull is it keeps you on track 24/7 and in shape. For me, I don't do the extremes anymore. I just do it for my health. And then the last few weeks, dial it in.
Yeah.
So no more extremes. I didn't start winning till I stopped doing. I mean, not that I didn't win.
But you probably
I won in
conditioned
my
the
younger
body,
years,
though,
but
into
like
a
the
way.
national shows, less extremes,
Yeah.
just lifestyle.
But do you think that earlier on doing the extremes sort of conditioned the body to where you don't need to do extremes as much as you aged?
Yeah, I mean, probably yes, I would say. I mean, if you've built muscle, as long as you're
Memory's there,
continuing.
right?
Yeah, the memory, but you're just going to get better. You got to base on muscle. That's why a lot of older competitors can have great physiques and sometimes like better.
Yeah. Yeah.
More muscle, I should say.
What's your thing, Mark?
Man, I think that I'm a competitive person.
It gives you some goals.
It gives you some goals. I'm in my late 30s.
Cool, yeah.
And it's like when I was in high school, when I was younger, I played sports. When I was in high school, I was a gymnast. So I like that physical, competitive edge. And, I'm a business owner, I'm a husband, I'm a father. And so now it's like when I was building my business, it was like I'm competing. I'm still competing.
Sure.
But now it's like, okay, well, God's allowed me to have a beautiful family and an established business. And it's like I miss that competitive edge. And so I'm in the gym working out, and I do it for my health, right? And for my cognitive function. But it's like for people, I guess, like us, or, who have that competitive edge, it's like, well, now I want to put it to the test.
Yeah.
And I want to step up against 20 other guys and see how I stack.
Yeah.
Like
that's cool.
That's so, and it also helps like when you're training, it's like I'm in there training and I'm thinking about, well, if I feel like cutting it short today, or if I feel like, cutting these last couple of sets off, it's like, well, are the other 20 guys or 30 guys skipping out? Are they hitting their sets?
Right. It keeps you going.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I mean, look, this is a bucket list for me. Am I going to do more? Probably not. But I've threatened for like 10 years to step on stage for, a men's physique competition. And I feel like it's maybe the right time.
See it through. Yeah.
And I've got the right coach. It's just doing it for the first time, getting out there and having those experiences.
Mm-hmm. I think it's cool, man.
Talking more of like what's consistent and what's going to allow you to live a healthy lifestyle and to be able to maintain is I'm learning about that because I do have an extreme personality. Like if I get a goal in my head, I'm going to go to the extreme and chase it, whether it's diet, training, anything like that, ruminating, stressing, overthinking it. But after the competition, I'm trying to figure out, well, what's going to be my balance as far as nutrition? It's going to be the 80-20. Am I going to do maybe more carnivore and fasting and then just add in carbohydrates maybe once or twice a week? I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure that out. There's a lot of studies that are coming out now that, well, you don't have to train every day or every other day or to do the typical bro split, as they call it, where you got to train 3 or 4 days a week. You can actually train once or twice a week if you have the physique and the health to do this. But you could say, well, you could train twice a week, two full body circuits and have a clean diet and still maintain muscle mass. You're not going to lose it. But the supplement industry has taught us, well, if you're not taking X amount of protein and X amount of supplements and you're not training X amount of days per week, you're going to lose muscle mass and you're going to go backwards. Right. And you're going to feel, a lot of studies now are coming out that that's not necessarily true. And you and I were talking earlier, carbohydrates, unprocessed carbohydrates versus, starchy carbohydrates. And so I'm curious to get your opinion on, like, for instance, like when I start this cut, could I jump right into low carbohydrates and then maybe 4 weeks pre-competition start, like manipulate and boost it, cut it, and then do the carb load like the night before? Like, I don't know. Like these are all things that
carb load way before the night before. Or you're going to look flat and stringy.
Well, see, that's the thing.
I learned that. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean,
I think personally that carbs are really important for muscle fullness.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't think they're the devil like some people feel like carbs are the devil. If you're eating clean carbs, I think it's important for any good diet.
What's a clean carb?
A clean carb, thank you for asking that. Complex carbs like sweet potato, like brown rice, quinoa, couscous. I like quinoa flakes. If you have any problems with gluten, it might say gluten-free oatmeal, but it's not. I hate to tell you, there's traces of gluten in there. So you might do quinoa flakes or things like that. You could eat a white potato. White potatoes are not the devil. They're really not that much different from eating a sweet potato. Butternut squash could be a carb, 10 grams or less in there. And your vegetables are carbs, but you can also get energy from fat. And once you start cutting the carbs back, make sure you're putting some good fat in there, and your body will start getting that energy from the good fat. But I will tell you, when you're eating protein, if that's all you were eating and you're on a carnivore diet, that can also turn to glucose in your body. So your body will do what it needs to do. Realizing what the good carbs are, realizing whatever you restrict, your body hangs on to. And when you want to do a good cut, you don't need 16 weeks to cut. Usually all the good cutting is towards the middle to And then maybe the last 2-3 weeks, then you start putting the carbs back in, and your muscles just like.
And the science behind that is carbohydrates are a vessel that carries water to the muscles. So carbohydrates will provide glycogen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When I do a carnivore diet, and I think that we've talked about this.
Yeah.
When you feel like you're small and flat, it's because the water.
There's no water.
Your muscles aren't full. They're
It's just
out.
not getting there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But so the body is so amazing. Like,
So you could get really, really lean, right?
Yeah.
And look really flat.
Yeah.
And you could not get a good, like for a man, you could not get a good pump on stage if you're not doing any carbohydrates. And if you don't carb up soon enough.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to do is go through
That's for fitness too.
The last thing you want to go through is all the training and then get on stage and then you just look depleted and you look flat.
It's like, why did I spend a year and a half doing that?
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But for everybody listening that says, I don't want to do that, I don't want to do that, any of that, just having that healthy lifestyle 24/7 is going to give you a good physique. You're going to have energy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And it's so achievable. I feel like a lot of people just get discouraged like 4 or 6 weeks in. It's just because they've set too extreme goals, too extreme diet, and it's not able to be consistent.
It's not sustainable.
Yeah,
you got to do what's sustainable for your life, for your lifestyle. If you're a mom working 60 hours a week with 3 kids, you can find the time, but you have to make it sustainable. You can't say, oh, I'm going to go to the gym like every day for, it's not going to work.
It's just
you have to look at your life.
Yeah. So why fitness? What sparked this whole thing in Linda's life where you were like, I need an exit to be able to like put my energy here?
I just think it's empowering.
Mm-hmm.
I think it gives you confidence. When I did the Spartan race and I was climbing a rope, I remember the first one was over, over a water pit. And I was like, I didn't make it up that. The second time I didn't make it up. And the third time I was like, the men are all falling off like flies. Maybe I should just elect to do the 30 burpees. And then I just had that feeling like, no, you got to give it one more try. And I just really I was like jumped and I hit above the knot because they make it's not like a normal rope. I could a normal rope.
Yeah.
You're hanging over the pit and you're in the water the whole bit. And so I got up to the top and there was just no feeling like that. I can't explain it.
Do you have a picture of that? Do you have a picture?
I do.
You have to send it to Brett so he can put that picture up there.
Okay. I wrote a blog about it. Ring the cowbell one more time.
Oh, cool.
It's like in life, I learned I could do that. Something I thought I couldn't do. And then I did it. And I smiled the rest of the course.
Oh, I'll bet.
Smiled the rest of the course.
That's a game changer.
And I would just say that it gives you that confidence to overcome obstacles in your life when you actually do it mentally and physically. And so it's empowering. It lifts any mood. At 62, I feel great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
They say a body in motion stays in motion, right? I think that
motion is lotion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We've got to be able to just be conscious of the fact that as the older we get, starting in your 30s, that your muscle starts to deteriorate over time.
Absolutely.
You've got to use it.
Yes.
You've got to use it to preserve it.
You got to have the muscle. I mean, all the studies are coming out how important. Actually, too, you may do a lot of cardio and it may help you lose fat, but then it makes you get fat. I know that sounds really contraindicative.
No, but it does explain it.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're breaking down all of that muscle, you're losing all of that muscle. I'm telling you, hitting the weight stack and hitting some weights or just using your body weight and resistance, it's going to help you build muscle, which builds your metabolism, which in the long run, then you're actually doing more.
From my experiences, when I do cardio, especially fasted cardio, I'm not necessarily a morning breakfast eater. I'm not hungry when I wake up.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't.
But when I do cardio and I do steady state, incline treadmill, I put Netflix on, or I'm watching a sermon and I walk for 45 minutes.
Yep.
When I get done, brother, I'm hungry.
Oh yeah.
Like and if you're not prepared with your right meals, you will eat something in excess calories and you'll mess up and throw the whole day off.
I think with long distance cardio too, there's a difference between subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat's the stuff you can pinch, and it's what makes people look fat. But you can actually still be pretty healthy metabolically and athletic with subcutaneous. Visceral fat, there's a lot of marathon runners who have visceral fat because the body is burning so much fuel that it clings on to this other kind of fat. And this is the fat that causes a lot of disease. And so there was actually this study among these, the Mind Pump show, where they talked about, they had a contest between all their trainers whose body fat percentage could drop the most. 9 out of 10 of their trainers got on the treadmill and started running to sweat it out and, running hard or whatever. They all lost because they lost muscle in addition. They lost more muscle than they did fat percentage.
Yeah.
And so what they found was the best way to increase decrease people's body fat percentage was through lifting weights and sprinting, short bursts of exercise.
Absolutely.
I've heard that about sprinting. That's
And the
really
body
interesting.
seems to
It's
be
actually
made.
not as hard on your body to do a sprint as it is to do the slow-mo, long duration
Is that
cardio.
because it's faster, basically?
Well,
it's getting that same exertion.
No, you're
in like
hitting
a
all the
shorter time
muscles
limit?
at the same time. It's almost
You're
like
hitting
weightlifting.
okay,
Have you ever
gotcha.
looked at any sprinter?
Yeah.
They're more muscular because
The cross country guys are the skinny guys.
And you're also using your glycogen. Let me spit that out. Stores.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you ever
When you're
look at a sprinter too, they have a really well-developed upper body. And the theory behind this is that when you sprint, you accelerate that fight or flight mode in your body, and the cortisol levels and the adrenaline increases. It releases something called mitokines, which are the opposite of cytokines. And these mitokines are supposed to be like pro-anabolic in the sense that it basically, think of it if you're running down something in the wild or you're sprinting away from something in the wild.
Yeah, you
these
just give it everything,
mitokines
right?
gives you the upper body strength to take the animal down. It gives you that last little bit. And so that's why you see these sprinters who have these really well-developed upper bodies.
Okay, let's talk about that a minute. What's the magic number in terms of like sprinting? Is there a certain distance? Is it a certain time limit? Is there a certain number of actual sprints? Is there anything that they found that's like, okay, at this metric, you really see a lot of whatever it is, weight loss or,
So it's individual again. Because what is a sprint for you might not be the same as it is for you or for Brett.
Yeah.
So it's just that all out exertion, and you're using muscle and glycogen. That's why it's for a limited time, because you can't go all out like that for 2 hours.
How long do they recommend going for with a sprint? Do you know?
Well,
I would be interested to know that because
generally it's just you're starting at like you could start at a 30-second to like a 90-second like bout. But for
90-second sprint, I'd be dead, Linda.
Oh no!
Don't
I
give me that
usually
bad
would
advice.
do,
No.
my most like effective. I mean, that's what I do in my SOS sweat workout, which I'm going to teach at ACSM in Colorado.
Oh, cool, nice.
But it's more like your body feels like it's doing a sprint, and generally when you're going all out like that, you shred fat like crazy and also maintain your muscle.
Yeah.
But you can't work out like that 24/7, and you can't do that every day. So you got to like decide 2 times a week.
That's a
3
good
times,
point.
Maybe.
Yeah. Valid point for sure. I wanted to circle back with you real quick because whenever we had started this, you had mentioned there was an issue in your life with domestic abuse. If you're okay with it,
Oh, sure.
I'd love to touch on that and kind of see if maybe that was something that sort of led you in this path.
Oh,
What did that look like for you?
well, I would absolutely say it led me down this path of why I want to empower and help other women to realize their value, and that, their strength, and that you are worthy of having the life of your dreams. And like for me, being in that situation would not have ever been what I chose.
Sure.
And having 2 small children, you can absolutely fitness, empowers you. And if it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't even be alive speaking to you. Finding that strength that I needed to be able to leave a situation like that where you're basically being beat down, okay? Not only beat up, but beat down. Fitness was a lifeline. It was a lifeline. And, I could have chosen any career once I left. I was in the top 10% of my class when I went to school. I had the smarts, but I really wanted to do something that was going to make an impact in other people's lives like it did in mine. And I really do think that when you get strong in the gym, it really helps you be strong in life.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's definitely something to doing something hard that makes you feel like you can take on anything. When I was doing ice baths, I remember feeling like I don't have problems. If I've got like a work disaster that happened or if there's any like stuff, it's like I just felt like I could handle any of it. Didn't matter. Yeah, the mentality's strong. It makes you tough. It does. Yeah, it does.
I like that. I like what you said about the ice bath.
Yeah.
I found that with the Spartan race, with the ice bath.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got life pretty cushy here sometimes.
Oh, no, we totally do. We totally do.
And it's good to really, it makes you feel more alive when you do something tough.
Absolutely. No, I love that, Linda. Thank you for sharing that. I know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very vulnerable.
I want to leave you with one question, if you don't mind. When we started the show, you had said that your fitness journey started around 21-ish or so. I want to ask you, if you could go back in time, what would 62-year-old Linda tell 21-year-old Linda?
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh. This too shall pass. Never give up. Never quit. Keep going because it's going to renew your enthusiasm in life, and always put God first.
Amen.
Boom.
Love that.
That was a really good answer.
Linda, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah,
we really, really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Very inspiring and amazing. If you guys want to find out more about Linda, check out
Sisterhood of S.W.E.A.T or listen to Linda.me.
Link in description. If you guys like this show, please consider subscribing. Please like this video, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.